What is up, podcast family, and welcome back to another episode of the Hook It podcast. Today we are on episode number 85, and very shortly I'm going to be joined by Jackson and Ron Goldstone. But before we get into this episode, I got to tell you about our show sponsors and keep these damn lights on. First of all, Sax underwear, and right now I'm going to add a new feature to the Sax ads called Sax Facts. Sax Facts is a new feature where I'll be telling you 100% true facts about Sax underwear. This came around recently after I was doing some research into the history of underwear and noticed there are two hugely important events in underwear development history, officially known as the PRSE, pre-Sax existence, and the POSC, post-Sax creation. The PRS, depicted by an invention of the 1930s. On 19th of January 1935, Cooper's Inc. sold the world's first briefs in Chicago, actually designed by an apparel engineer named Arthur Kniebler. Briefs dispense with leg sections and had a Y-shaped overlapping fly. The company dubbed the design the Jockey, since it offered a degree of support that had previously only been available from the jock strap. Anyway, for 90 years, underwear sucked. Men were left with constant irritation of skin-on-skin friction, unexpected wedges, and there was a global crisis. Women weren't turned on by men's underwear. All this changed when we entered the POSC, post-Sax creation, in 2006, when Trent Kitch, known now as Lord Trent Kitch, was on a fishing expedition, and after spending hours in a cold, clammy ocean wetsuit, he knew there had to be a better way to protect his package from chafing. Trent, a former baseball player, he imagined a catcher's mitt hammock design and turned it upside down in his mind. After the fishing trip, and with the hammock idea still percolating, he worked with a seamstress and designer and himself as the fit model, to create a panel fabric hammock that separated his balls from his legs. 14 prototypes later, the ballpark pouch and Sax underwear were ready for action. Since then, the brand has developed a range of everyday and technical underwear to suit every man, along with adding patented technology like 3D fit and flat seams. No doubt after this advert, you're going to want to try a pair for yourself or treat yourself to a fresh batch. Just head to saxunderwear.com or ask for them in your local skate, mountain bike, snow or outdoor retailer. It's that easy, folks. Our next sponsor is Hook It Products. Here at Hook It, we know October as Mudguard Month. Especially in the UK, the weather is starting to turn, the trails are getting sloppy, and I want to help you keep shit out of your face. All our mudguards are made right here in Sheffield. We have a range of sizes from standard enduro mudguards to XL and even rear mudguards if you're that way inclined. For October only, we are going to offer you 15% off all mudguards over on hookitproducts.co.uk. And to claim this offer, all you have to do is enter the promo code MUDCAST. That's MUDCAST. Mudcast will give you 15% off all mudguards and also offer you free shipping in the UK too. Did you know we also do custom mudguards, 100% custom. We currently make them for some of the world's leading brands, athletes, events and bike shops. We offer a free design service and crazy low minimum order quantities. If you do want to find out more, just shoot us an email, head over to hookitproducts.co.uk and we will take care of the rest. All right, that was a mouthful. Let's do some giveaway. Let's do a giveaway real quick. If you want to win a pair of Sax underwear, each and every episode we give a pair away to somebody who leaves a review on iTunes. So once again, if you want to win a pair of underwear, head to iTunes, write a review, leave a star rating. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can be as critical or as loving as you want. Either way, every week I pick someone at random and we give away a pair of Sax underwear. This episode, I would like to choose iTunes username PoppaG78. So if that is you, reach out through Instagram or Facebook messages and let me know your shipping address and your waist size, and we will send you a fresh pair of Sax underwear in the post. It wouldn't be a podcast episode recently unless I mentioned our marathon. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has donated money so far. If you don't already know, this weekend coming, depending on when you're listening to this, it is the 6th of October. Myself and my two friends are running the Loch Ness Marathon to raise money for the Royal National Lifeboat Institute, who at the end of April saved our lives. So we are not runners, as you probably know. It's been a hell of a traumatic experience training for a marathon, and I'm still, to be honest, not 100% sure that it's possible, but there we go. And if you have enjoyed listening to this podcast over the years and you just want to do something good, please donate a little bit of money. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit or a lot. Every little helps. You know, the RNLI is 100% run on charity donations and volunteers. So they're incredible people. They saved my life, and we wouldn't have a podcast if it wasn't for that service, let's be honest. So there is a link in the show description below. If you can donate some money, it would be much appreciated. I understand if not. If you can't, maybe just share the page with your friends and ask your friends to do it instead. Pass the buck. Anyway, all right, guys, let's get into this episode. Today, I am joined by Jackson and Ron Goldstone. Many of you will know Jackson from being the mini shredder, 14 or 15, I still haven't worked it out, years of age. Recently completed a double backflip out at Audi 9s, and just an all-round fantastic family. I was really interested as well to get his dad Ron on the podcast to find out more about what goes into managing this young man's career, travel, you know, sponsorship, managing the social media, and the changing family dynamics too, which we get into. This is a pretty cool episode, I'll be honest with you. It was a little bit of a surprise that Jackson was on the podcast. We weren't 100% sure if he'd be back from traveling in time or if he'd be at school, but Jackson joined us for a chat. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this one. So without further ado, let's hand over to Ollie Wilkins, a little bit of Zeb, and get straight into this episode with Jackson and Ron Goldstone. Enjoy, and thanks once again for listening. Oof, long intros.
Welcome to the Hook It podcast, endorsed by @ODub_23. Add me, tag me. Follow me. Please follow me.
Very calm. Give me all your money. Try to count to 10. Little doesn't know it's about to begin. Push it too far, you're the killing machine.
Beautiful. All right, yeah, we look good. So, all right, let's just hit record and just rip it from here if that's cool with you guys.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Welcome to the show, guys. Really appreciate you doing this once again. I'm pretty stoked that we've got Jackson as well. Obviously taken me by surprise. Didn't think we'd have Jackson here. We thought you'd be off at school, but on today's podcast we have got Jackson Goldstone and his dad Ron. So thanks again, guys. Really appreciate you doing this, taking the time out. So it's going to be fun.
Good to be here.
Thank you. I was thinking about it before, right? I wasn't too sure what to think when I saw Jackson started following the podcast account. I was like super stoked, and then I'm like, is it weird to be stoked that you got a 14-year-old kid following you? But no, I'm pumped. And it sounds like you've maybe listened to a few episodes, which is super cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks again. Really appreciate it. Jackson, you've taken the day off school today, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, take in the morning. I'm gonna go back to school once this is done, but
oh, really?
Yeah.
You on that flexi time with school? Is that how it works, or?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
I guess.
All
I just
right.
gotta do a little more homework.
Okay, all right. And we're gonna get into it a little bit deeper, but you just returned from your first trip on your own without Dad. So,
Yeah.
Ron, how was that, man? Have your nerves settled down since you got home, or what?
Yeah, it was tough for sure.
Yeah.
Dropping him off at the airport, and a little bit because he's going on his own and obviously doing things that are dangerous. So you don't want to be him getting hurt, and not being there for that. But also, man, I wanted to go to Spain and hang out and go to La Poma, and I didn't get to go on this one. So I'm obviously a little jealous of that as well.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No, it's cool though. I tracked some of the stuff you're up to in La Poma. It looked like a pretty sick time, to be honest. It looked good, real good. And I also want to get into that double backy that you threw at 9 Nights as well, which was insane. So there's a bunch of stuff that obviously I want to get into and talk to you both about. But I wanted to kick this off, like I always like to, like kind of from the beginning. How all good stories start, I think, is starting right from the beginning. So let's start with like Ron. So how did you first get into mountain biking? Like, how did all this stuff start popping off for you guys?
Well, if you go all the way back to my youth, like I grew up in North Vancouver, which is essentially, I grew up at the birthplace of the shore riding. I grew up right in the heart of all the stuff I rode when I was 10, 12, 13 years old. All the hiking trails became the future mountain bike trails. Mm-hmm. And so biking for me has always been a huge part of my life. I was a BMX racer until I was about 17 or 18. Yeah. Never really, a standout guy, but it was our life. And my parents used to drive around my brother and I, and we'd go hit races, and that was our life. And then I kind of fell off for a couple of years and went and chased snow around the world and skied for, and then once I stopped doing that, I got into mountain biking about 1992, 93. Back in the old days, I had, Rocky Mountain Fusion, V-brakes, hardtail, like you name it, we were back there. So, I just picked it up for a long time. About that time, we moved to Squamish in 95. And there was kind of a very small scene of mountain bikers at that time, but we were a close group, and we used to ride what was now become like one of the best trail networks around. It was just in its infancy then. And I did a bunch of racing, cross-country racing, marathon, 24-hour races, stuff like that, whenever I could. And then 2002, Bailey was born. Jackson's older sister, and then 2004, Jack was born. And we kind of, spent a couple of years toning it back a little bit, but 2006, Jack was 2, 3. We just started with that little run bike. I got him going on that just because of the nature of it. Right. It wasn't because I had to force him into mountain biking to take up. Mountain biking is just one thing that you do when you live in Squamish. You have kids that mountain bike or ride bikes, and you're surrounded by it, so it's just a natural thing. Mm-hmm. So you got on that run bike and just took to it, and we couldn't get him off it. And it's the best way to get around when you've got a little kid in tow. Instead of having to walk super slow, if you throw him on that run bike, he can keep up with you and you can get stuff done. So
okay,
it was rad.
Cool. All right, man. So I'm also pretty intrigued as far as your own work life goes. You're obviously also pretty flexible with yourself with all the traveling and stuff with Jack. What do you do for a job, dude? Yeah. and have you got any jobs? Because I'd really like one.
Yeah. That's a fair question, because I'm pretty lucky in that I've been able to work a pretty flexible schedule. I started, this is my 30th year working for what's called BC Park. So it's the provincial park system. So I started as a park ranger, right? Which is one of those dudes who hike around in the backcountry. And my territory was the area behind Whistler in a place called Garibaldi Park. And it's a dream job. Like, it's just as good as it gets. And so I spent, 15 years as a backcountry ranger or manager, and then for the last 10 years, I've been still working for the park system, but I'm kind of like a manager guy. So I've got a great job in that I do all the construction for all the facilities. So I build trails, I build campgrounds, I build roads, water systems, you name it. And it gives me certain times of the year that I'm extremely busy. Yeah. And then certain times that I'm not. And lucky that kind of corresponds with when it's in the summer, the parks are too busy for me to work. So I don't do as much work, and then I take off time. at that time. So,
Got you.
and, and, you know, it's a juggle act to try and get everything done. And also, you know, I do a lot of time working when I'm away as well.
Well,
so
you can almost work remotely as well, like just email stuff and All right. Okay.
Yeah. But, you know, it's definitely been hard to try and balance all the opportunities that he's been getting for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And also make it. So for him going by himself, this one kind of opened more. Also, my wife works remotely. She actually works from home, and she can work anywhere.
Right.
So she spent a bunch of this year in Europe with my daughter, and she was there for 6 weeks, and it was all work time. She didn't take any vacation.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like, you know, you're both in a pretty lucky situation that you can be flexible. I think there's no doubt a lot of people who would love that opportunity listening to this that, you know, are stuck in a 9 to 5 routine. Have you always been like super mindful then of not like getting into a legit, not a legit, but like a normal 9 to 5 sort of role? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I tried it for a couple of years. And
It sucks, right?
Just did not work.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
all right.
You know, I mean, I've been really lucky that I started this job a long time ago, and it's been my life. And that even when I'm at work, I'm spending a lot of time outdoors. So it's really nice to be able to have a bit of flexibility around my work and do something I love to do.
Yeah. So. Yeah. It sounds sick, dude. It sounds awesome. Real cool. So I guess the next step is, you know, obviously Bailey and Jack are born, and you guys just fall into this whole mountain bike world. So, you know, you said initially that you just picked up the Strider bike, you know, that's what we call it here. I don't know if it's the same thing over there, but just to sort of get around on, and then all of a sudden Jack's sending it off drops and doing all sorts of random crazy stuff on it. Is there like a moment you remember when you sort of thought, okay, he's actually pretty good at this stuff, or did that never really occur to you?
Yeah, I think that there wasn't one particular moment. I can think of a couple of times where we were in groups of people, and all of a sudden he's, you know, we were like in one particular case, I remember being at an after party at a bike race, and Jack rolled up. He must have been 3.5 or whatever, and just started hucking off the stage and hucking off all this other stuff. And at that point, you know, I was just like, normal for us. Whenever he goes somewhere, he would like ride a curb for a long time, like or jump off a low 2-foot. So it was just kind of like normal. But then for him to be around other people and doing what he does, it kind of reinforced that, oh yeah, maybe this isn't normal.
Okay.
And that was kind of, you know, lots of little instances like that where it was what was incremental improvement for us. When you step outside it and you can see the end result, and it's like a big deal. But when you're immersed in it, you don't notice it as much.
Got you. Okay, that makes total sense. Yeah. So Jack, do you remember, you know, do you remember first seeing mountain biking, for example? Like, where did you figure out you could take the Strider and start hooking off stuff? I mean,
well, one of my main like who I looked up to kind of when I was riding on the run bike was Dan McCaskill.
Oh wow!
If my mom was busy or my parents were busy and I'm just at home before school times, and I would just like type in DAN, and then like the YouTube videos would come up, and I just watched them forever. And he definitely inspired me to, you know, ride and just have a lot of fun.
That's cool. Danny came on this podcast, a couple of years ago now, I think. And I've had the pleasure of meeting him a few times since then. I'm, you know, pretty good friends with some of his housemates as well, so Ali and Duncan Shaw. And I feel like Danny's had such a positive impact on so many people. It's pretty rare you speak to someone now who sort of rides that isn't aware of all Danny's edits, that doesn't want to ride the bike like that. Did you see the new Fabio one as well?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Oh my
Definitely.
word. Yeah. That kid's on
so
another
creative.
level. Yeah, super creative. He is on another level as well. But that's cool. So you're watching Danny and then sort of figured that you could transfer some of his stuff onto your balance bike, and then...
Yeah, a little bit. Not at the same level, but...
Yeah. you know, in your own little way. Okay.
But there was also a period in there where he went from the run bike to racing BMX. So he started racing BMX when he was like 4 or 5. I think he started like 4.5 and did a couple of races, and then really got into it when he was 5.
Okay.
And it was something that I knew, and so we were able to go and, you know, kind of go to the indoor track in the winter and ride bikes and just hang out with guys that I used to race with. We're back in it with their kids. And we did that for about a year and a half, maybe. And I remember after like a year and a half, Bailey would have been 7. And she was like, "Mom, I'm tired of watching. I'll race if you race." So Miriam was like, "Okay, I'm in." And she was, you know, a rider, but no history of racing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so she picked up BMX racing at 43. Wow. And still does it. Went to world champs a couple years ago. Like, she really was good at it.
No way. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So for that period, like of about 5 years, maybe 6 years, you know, that was our gig. Like, we would race a couple days a week, race on the weekends, just like the whole family would go out and ride BMX. And it's perfect stepping stone because it's enclosed. You know, they could go do their thing, we could do our thing, and everybody would, you know, kind of ride their bikes, and every now and again we race together and practice together, and it was awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was really good. Yeah, I think that really contributed a lot to that skill development early on.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people that, you know, look back and have raced BMX, a lot of professional downhill riders, you know, moto guys, whatever. BMX is like a fundamental stepping stone for learning how to pump, how to, you know, all that stuff comes from that. And I feel like too, even here in the UK, you know, BMX is such a huge family sport. Like you just said, you'll usually find that the kids ride and the dad rides and the mum will ride, and that's really cool.
Yeah, it's rad. And that track that we had here in Squamish, it was kind of just getting going, and it's developed as well. You know, it's a lot of other families picked it up like we did, and we've got some really good racers that are come out of this group, and, you know, we get a lot of really good mountain bikers who come and just practice, and it's a great step, I think. For building development, teaching kids how to suffer, you know, like sprint and,
how to lose as well. That's a big thing,
how
right?
To lose.
Yeah, for
how
sure.
To lose and that, yeah, sure. It's got lots of good things about it. I think when you know, for us, when you get to a certain point where we're down in the States racing against American kids at nationals, like it's too competitive for what I want. Like, it's just too harsh, you know? So it's good to get in and then get out before you get too jaded, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. No, and I think as well, it's such pretty much an accessible sport for a lot of families too. You know, you're not going to tie up thousands and thousands of dollars in bikes. You know, it's pretty accessible, and that's always good in it as well. You know, I think, you know, you probably heard on this sort of on the podcast before, you know, I'm from a motocross background, and I feel like when I was growing up, you know, the dads and parents had had so much money invested in that sport that's where the pressure started to come from, because it was like, you know, if you don't perform, this is an absolute waste of money and it's a waste of time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I could see it, and we did see that as we were, like I said, going down to the States. Even though, you know, the bikes aren't that expensive, it still costs a lot, and there's a lot of pressure going on a lot of those kids at really early age to perform, and I think I think it taught me a lot about putting pressure on the kids and how that it can backfire so easily. Yeah. And there's, you know, when Jack was racing, there was 7 or 8 kids at 8 years old that were all really good riders, and, you know, all had this massive future, and none of them ride anymore. None of them do this stuff anymore. They just got burnt out by
typical burnout, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Too much, too young. You know,
I think so.
Definitely. So, so as a family now, do you still do the BMX stuff? Do you still dabble in it? You know, you said your wife's still riding.
Yeah. Not as much.
Okay.
It is something that kind of fell off the wayside for Jack and I about 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and then Bailey and Miriam kind of kept racing, and we didn't race a lot last year, but winter season's starting up again, and we're going to get back into it more so.
Okay.
I think we're going to try and ride our dirt jumpers
Yeah.
in the BMX track instead of getting BMX bikes and,
Right.
and more just because I know how for skill development, gated racing is for dual slalom and stuff. If you get a good gate, it helps.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely.
and it's just fun. Like it's
Good family times, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Same. I'm sure in the UK when you guys the same winters we have here, and when it's dark at 4 and
Yeah, it's
raining
brutal, man. It's brutal. It's just starting to turn now here. So it's rained all day today, like non-stop torrential rain all day.
Oh.
It sucks. It's starting to just get cold, all that sort of stuff. It's but here in the UK, man, we've had a really, really good summer again, like really good. But the winters are, pretty brutal. And what's frustrating is you don't have to go too far, on an airplane, and the weather's amazing. Jack's just been in, La Poma, which is probably like a 4-hour plane journey from here, and it's beautiful weather. We just have like the worst of it here. I feel like we're just this isolated little island that just gets all the bad weather. It's but we're a hardy bunch though, man. We'll ride rain or shine over here.
Yeah, I know. I remember. Isn't that what Steve Pete's line from
man.
Seasons, right?
Yeah, well, Warncliffe Woods are like maybe 25 minutes from my house. So that's sort of where I grew up riding as well, was Warncliffe, Grenoside. That's right where Steve's house is as well. And then my business is based, not too far from there as well. So that's my local riding spot is Warncliffe.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Get yourselves over here, man. Let's go for a ride.
Yeah.
I'll show you around.
I know.
Wait till it's sunny though, because it's crazy though, living here sometimes, because it is, we've got iconic riding on our doorstep. Right here in it's Sheffield area, but like the Peak District and stuff right around here is iconic. And you often forget about that, but we've got some legit good riding over here.
Yeah, well, you're pumping out great riders. Like Great Britain team's solid.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure.
It's got to be coming from somewhere.
Yeah, man. It's in the water.
Yeah. I asked Danny Hart about that last year when we were together, and just how come so many good riders come from the UK, and his point was that in Whistler, it's just out your door and you have fantastic riding and you kind of take advantage of it. And for there, you got to work to get to a bike, an uplift or something. And you're not going to waste any of your time having cruisy runs. It's like full gas all the time. And it makes you a strong rider at the end of it.
I think so too. Definitely. We don't really have as many sort of like bike parky places here. There's a few now which are really good. Like we've got Bike Park Wales, for example, and there is quite a few, but for the most part, it's pretty like gnarly, man-made stuff. Natural stuff rather than man-made trails. And I think that, especially with downhill, seems to breed a bunch of good talent. Just like you said, like that bike handling of riding that sort of stuff. I think that could be one of them. I don't know. Or it could just be the water. I don't know. I don't know. So to get back to sort of Jack's career and you guys, if people haven't seen it, there's a really good edit that you put out of Jack riding that balance bike, which seems to be the thing which catapulted the whole career, maybe, would you say? Or like, why did you guys end up doing that? Was it just because you noticed it was good on that thing and you were like, oh, I'll make a video? Or like, how did that all come around? Because Jack probably doesn't remember. Do you remember this stuff?
I remember maybe like a few things, like the one part where like a drink out of the water. I remember that, but like, it's pretty funny seeing like things I don't remember, but like then like videos like you can actually see that I'm doing it and stuff. But yeah.
So Ron, like, where did that come from? Like, what were you watching at the time which made you think this is a really good idea?
Yeah. It was not planned. We did the whole thing in a weekend.
Right.
I had to like buy the camera to do it. And I think kind of what happened was we had a lot of people who would just see Jack ride on the street and like, oh man, he's so cute. That's so cute and stuff like that. And then he did this like commercial for a bike website, and they reached out to us, and they're like, can you come into this? I was like, yeah, sure, it was fine. We got out there, and it was like, I don't want to say it wasn't good, but it was just really serious about what it could have been. And it was him and a young girl riding in the skate park. And it was just way too serious. And I thought, man, this is like cute, but let's do something fun and just have it basically to show my mom of what he's been doing. And it's like, let's just go have this fun video and we'll just shoot this video. And it was, I think we just made it up as we went pretty much, had kind of an idea. Looking at it now, it's so bad. Like, it's so shaky.
Yeah, you can tell you didn't buy that stabilizer.
Yeah, no, it was like I didn't even have a tripod. And
one take for everything.
One take for everything. But it was just like, it was just this great weekend that we had. It was super fun, and we're just kind of like riding around trying to make up stuff. And then I was like, I think I had to join Pink Bike to put it on there, or I had like, I don't know, I didn't know anything. And so I threw it up on Pink Bike and whatever. And then like the next day I got like, I don't know, 1,000 followers and 30,000 views on it. I'm like, oh, this must be normal. This is just, it happens when you do this. And I think Red Bull shared it. I got like another 50,000. I was like, oh, okay. And then people started like talking to me about it, and then I kind of realized, oh, maybe this is not normal, and this is actually going pretty well. And it just blew up, like just blew up. And I think it's still the most viewed video that's on the Pink Bike server. Is
it really? No way! I didn't know that. Wow, that's hectic.
Yeah, and I mean, it's and that kind of changed everything, because I think that was in like June or early July when we put it up, and then I think we went to our second Crankworks then, and people kind of knew him a little bit from that. Right. So you got to meet guys like Cam Zink and Grant Magazine. All these guys had seen it and kind of put two and two together, and it just became kind of definitely the start of whatever notoriety he has now.
Yeah. Jeez, that's crazy though. It's cool that it was just super organic as well. Like, there was you weren't doing it for anything, any notoriety. You're just doing it to make a memory for you and your son. And like, there it is. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. I think if it had been staged or then I don't think it would have been really the same sort of thing. But and it's pretty fun to look back on it now and just like, oh my gosh.
That's a huge thing as well, that it's the most watched video on this Pink Bike server. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I knew it was big, but geez.
Yeah, I think like there's been a couple Facebook people that have shared it on their sites, and they've had like 35 million views on each of those guys. Like, and it's like, wow, man, it's just insane. Like, just
that is huge numbers.
Many people watch something like that.
Yeah. Wow. And what's cool is like, maybe at the time Jack's watching Danny Mac videos and he's getting the same amount of views almost. Probably more.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Wow. Who'd have thought? Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. So do you remember like after that then what was the next step once that had gone out? Because you in the back of your head, you must be thinking, well, there's either a market for this or there's something to be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really think of it as like I was gonna get somewhere, but I just kind of kept riding, got on a pedal bike, and started kept BMX racing a lot more, and just kind of had a lot of fun and just kept going with it. And
what about you, Ron? Like, were you a little bit more sort of down for doing more of these videos? I don't know. Like, how did it all unfold?
I don't. Actually, I just made me think of something that I remember that summer. Danny McCaskill was at Crankworks,
Right.
and he was sitting in the grass watching the slopestyle thing, and Jackson went up to him to get his autograph, and Danny's like, "Have I seen you in a video?"
Great accent as well, man. It's on point.
Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, my life is complete. I'm happy."
Oh dear, that's cool.
So yeah, I think maybe I should have been like Martin and written a whole bunch of notes down.
Oh man, how prepared was Martin? Unbelievable! Like yeah.
I know.
That still blows me away that he had all that. He's like, yeah, I made a list. What? I'm like,
yeah, I know. I was like, oh, maybe I should do that. I'm like, it's only been 10 years. I can remember everything, but now I can't. But I think that was about that time that we started going to Woodward. Would have been that end of that summer.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I think. Yeah, it would have been like 2010. And so I remember thinking in the fall that, winter's coming up and we're going to do some indoor BMX and stuff, but where can we go for indoor riding? And I Google searched indoor mountain bike parks, and I had no idea about Woodward West.
Oh wow.
It popped up and I'm like, is this for real? Is this an actual thing you can go to? And I was like, I couldn't believe it. And I think Jackson was 6 at that point, and just about he would have been 6, and so we had to apply to get him in early because you had to be 8, so we had to contact them and all the rest, and we're like, okay, this is going to be our family holiday. I'm going to go to California, and we just rolled into Woodward. We dropped him off for winter camp, and there was a friend of ours went as well, Seth Sherlock, who he just won one of the World Cup Juniors this year. But so the two of those guys were there, and we dropped him off, and we went down to Los Angeles for 4 days and hung out on the beach and stuff, and then came back and realized that, wow, we just dropped a 6-year-old off and it snowed 4 days.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite the camp that we thought it was going to be. And Jack was just absolutely both destroyed because he had ridden so hard for 4 days and stayed up all night with all the other kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was emotionally and physically destroyed, but just couldn't believe the time he had there. And that kind of opened the door for us to go there. So we went back in spring and we went back in summer. We would just spend as much time as we could going to Woodward, and got to know Jake Kinney, who's the mountain bike director there.
Okay.
And I went after I went, and either was a camper myself and hung out, or was a camp dad. And I just built up a lot of cool experiences at Woodward, meeting other kids or other pro riders, or the staff and everything there, and just kind of became part of our family. And so 5 times a year he's down there.
Okay. Wow.
And I think it contributed a lot to how he's riding now.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like it is a breeding ground, isn't it, for talent? I mean, if going and learning stuff, there's everything there, right? I mean, what do they got? They got dirt jumps, skate parks, multiple of everything as well.
Yeah, airbag,
Yeah.
vert ramp.
Yeah.
There used to be a mega ramp, but it got taken down.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And so obviously he's going there, but there's no real you're not leaning towards any sort of discipline at that point. It's just riding bikes, just riding mountain bikes for fun.
Yeah, Jake was building the mountain bike program there, and they have a few trails that are short, and they've been trying to get that mountain bike program going. But I think that the skills you learn riding skate parks and vert jumps and stuff all transfer so well into overall mountain biking.
Yeah.
Learning how to pump and berm and corner. Even though you're riding a mountain bike in a skate park, you're learning mountain bike skills. So.
It sounds like even at this point, so Jack's 6, maybe 5, 6, whatever. Riding's getting probably a lot more advanced than most kids who don't have that opportunity. So one of the things I was going to ask you, actually, and this isn't an interview sort of question, but do you believe in natural talent? Because this has come from somewhere, right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, great question, and it's something I think about a lot, because I think there's there must be a natural talent, because I know how hard Jack works and how many opportunities he has, and I know how other kids just kind of show up and ride hard and are fast or good and stuff like that. So I think that there's got to be a combination of environment, or what is it, nature and nurture. I think like sometimes you just naturally have some ability, but I also think that you have to nurture whatever talent the person has originally. I can tell you right now, it's not genetics that Jack has, because
I think most people have seen that Day Out with Dad video, man. We can.
Oh man, you know what? I remember watching that, and there's that thing at the end where I do this jump, and when I watched it on the video, I was disgusted because I felt like I was flying. Like I thought, oh man, I'm way over his head, and I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh.
That was funny, but wouldn't it be like really interesting to know, if a culmination of I don't know, like genes or whatever it could be, can sort of like create a natural ability for something, without, like you say, nurturing and having those opportunities as a young kid,
Yeah.
Because Bailey's good too.
Yep. And but how much harder Bailey has to work to get everything that she has.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible. And, she's a lot smarter than Jackson, so she knows that it's going to hurt if she falls. And so she thinks about stuff a lot more.
Yeah.
But I look at like Pat Casey's got a 5-year-old now, right? Reed and Cam Zink's son and all these kids, mountain bike pros who are having kids now. And just by the nature of the exposure that they have to that outdoor action sports world, it's going to be exciting to see what some of these kids do.
True, for sure.
If they're surrounded by it.
It is always interesting with sports and stuff, because you usually do find that there'll be sons that are professional at something after their dads have been, and it's like a generational thing. But like you said, is it because they're exposed to it at an early age and they have an opportunity, or is there a straight just natural ability that you just need to find it, and once you've found it, boom, you run with it? I don't know. I think especially in the States, it feels like kids seem to have a lot more opportunity with that stuff, with schools and stuff. You have a good sports programs, whereas here it's kind of not like that. Like you have I can't remember the technical term for it, but where you get into college for free. What's that? Scholarships and stuff like that. Yeah. You see, we don't really have anything like that here. Like I said, I'd just be interested to know if there is such a thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I know in Canada we don't have, like, our downhill team is not funded, our national team at all.
Right.
You're pretty much on your own for that. But the cool thing that we have being in Squamish is that the Squamish as a town has become this kind of outdoor place, right? And, there's lots of different sports to do here, from really good rock climbing, windsurfing, mountain biking, the rest of it. And that attracts teachers who, are public school teachers, but they want to have their summers off. So they're mountain guides who guide in the summer, but teaching. And so, like, Jack's math teacher is on the Rocky Mountain cross country factory race team.
Really? Wow.
So
Okay.
So they get it, right? They get it. If it's like, okay, he can't go this week because he's got a race or he's got an event, and there's ski racers that are the same, right? They got a ski race this weekend. So their schools are quite a bit more flexible than I think maybe in the UK.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds like it. Yeah.
And there's opportunity here for online schools and things like that. So, I think we're a bit more progressive that way. I know some of the, like, talking to friends in, like, Switzerland and stuff, we don't have this dedicated sports schools that they do. But we have more flexibility to pursue our own program.
Yeah, that's cool. So what is your take as a dad on the school system? Are you like, not opposed to it, because it doesn't sound like you're opposed to it. I understand you've got to do that
Yeah.
stuff, but you seem a little bit more open to sort of letting school fit into your life rather than you fitting into the school's life. Is that fair to say?
That's great. I think that it's what I've learned, and it's been a philosophy from the get-go, but in the last year or two, is that if you take away a lot of the fluff that teachers have to deal with and just deal with curriculum, it's not that hard. Like if you're just doing the learning stuff,
yeah,
Jackson can stay up to date pretty well, but they spend a lot of time, learning about stuff or making sure that everybody's on the same page or dealing with kids who are not behaving well. The rest, that's the hard part of teaching. I think the teaching part and curriculum, I'm sure all teachers would just love to focus on that if that's all you're focusing on, it's I'm not going to say easy to keep up.
No, I understand what you mean. I've never really thought about it like that. If you get handed a textbook and say, right, you need to finish that, and you finish school, you could do it in a week, or you have to go to a regular school, and as soon as you start getting ahead, it gets brought back again, or it doesn't fit into that day's schedule, so you have to do it the next day. Whereas, like you said, if you can just get to the end of it, then it's the same as every other kid, just done it in your own program. Huh. Yeah, I didn't really think of it like that.
Yeah, and that's sort of, I think, what I'm finding up until now. Now he's in grade 10, and it's a bit more serious. Stuff has consequences. So, school has been taking a bit more of a, we're not putting it to the side as much, but so far it's been really easy for him to keep up. Up until this year, he took everything in French. So he was in French immersion. So that was an additional stressor. And so now he's back to learning English, and so it should be a little bit easier to keep up.
All right. So Jackson, what's your relationship with school like? Do you like it? Are you classmates and stuff a little bit maybe jealous that you're out there traveling the world doing what?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I can imagine.
There's kind of like a school joke that I'm there half of the time. So like 1 week I'm there, and then 1 week I'm gone, and it's always a joke that like, where am I going to go next or whatever. So it's pretty funny, seeing all the other kids talking about it and stuff. But I think school's a good thing, but I personally don't like going to it. I'd rather just do it at home, or like finish it all in one go, or just get through it faster.
Yeah.
So it takes up 6 hours of my day. I'd much rather be riding, even if it's raining. I'd rather be doing something else than sitting in a room full of 30 people and just staring at the chalkboard.
Wow, yeah, that's cool. I mean, obviously, you must be kind of aware that you're living pretty much every kid on the planet's dream. That there's not that many kids. It's probably like a 90% split that 10% actually want to be in school learning stuff and whatever. But is it a bit weird with friends and stuff? Like, how does that work? Do you have like more friends in mountain biking, traveling, or more at school? Or okay.
All my friends are all of them are mountain bikers. So
okay.
I think we're all kind of in the same boat that we don't want to be there. But okay. It's getting like, my problem is in the winter is when it even if it's a cold day, but the winter it gets dark so early that like you can't go for a ride after school because you get home at 3:30. Yeah. And it gets dark at 4:30. By the time you're ready, it's already dark. So maybe I might get some winter lights or something like that, so I can go for some night rides. But okay. It's just kind of holds me back, I guess, a little bit in that sense. But
but it's Jack's group of friends are really good. Riders.
Really,
like they are like as good as any other kids that Jack competes in internationally.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And there's like a group of half a dozen of them that are, some guys ride dirt jumps, some guys race downhill. And when you go to our provincial BC Cup series, it's always the same crew of kids are podium contenders, or, one of his buddies is going to Punk Track Worlds in Bern next month, right? Like he got second in Canada. So it's like, it's this cool little bubble that I only know how they rank internationally because I know how Jack compares to other kids internationally, and so we get to see it. But it's pretty rad to see this little group of kids who are just pushing each other and just having fun. But if you compare them globally, they're really good.
Yeah. So you were saying before as well about there just been a little bit like talent pool, and you're all just feeding off each other all the time, and you're just going to continue to elevate. So watch out, rest of the world. I guess the crew's coming.
Squamish is taking over.
Yeah, this crew and the crew that are coming up behind too. And
wow.
You go to see Whistler and there's these like 10, 12-year-old kids that they're really good. Like they're doing stuff that kind of blows me away. Just how good these kids are and how fast they are, and just how things are progressing so fast.
Yeah. Just to sort of get back a little bit as well then. So, I mean, ultimate question is when did all this stuff start to become that really serious? Not really serious because it doesn't sound like you take it too serious, but when did like brands start getting interested? When was that little bit more of a obligation to do stuff, let's say? Is that fair? I don't know. I'm really interested in how this whole thing works, man. I'll be honest. It's cool. And it's unique, isn't it, as well? That's the really interesting thing. There's not that many 14-year-old kids doing this.
Yeah, it's I think that maybe we work with brands that don't put a lot of pressure on it, and I don't just like sign to get sponsored by anybody and everybody. Like I want to make sure that everybody's on the same page ahead of time, and that the reputable guys and the bigger companies kind of get it, that they don't want to be the ones pushing a 14 or 10-year-old or 15-year-old into something and they get hurt, and that looks bad on them.
Okay.
So, he's first started getting sponsored a little bit, probably when he was like 8 or 9, I guess.
And at this stage, we're talking, product, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
no money.
No. Yeah, not at 8. No.
Not even close.
We just, and it was just basically through people that we knew by being here, or we got to know people, and they'd be like, "Oh, you should, a friend of mine does this company, you should get a hold of him, and maybe he'll send you some stuff," or whatever reason. I think one of his first sponsors was Core. And that was because of a friend of ours who we had met and became good friends with, did some work for them and introduced us to Core. And then they're like, "Yeah, we can send you some stuff." And then that kind of that's kind of how most things happen.
Okay.
You meet somebody or there some product manager is watching you, and that's how it comes. It was actually kind of funny. I got a Facebook or a Pink Grape message from Tavish Capel from Royal, and he's like, "Oh, was kind of been watching Jackson, and we would be interested in talking to you about running a Royal product." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And well, you guys are in the UK, so that's an 8-hour time difference. So why don't you, we'll set it up for this. He's like, "Oh no, I work for the UK company, but I live in Squamish. I'll just meet you at Starbucks."
Was it? Is it Tav? Yeah. I thought so. Okay. All right. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. He's like, "Yeah, no, I just meet at Starbucks and we'll go down and we'll have a talk." I'm like, "Oh, that's way easier." Yeah. So, and so for the way how it's evolved, everybody is still really like, we don't have a lot of commitments that we have to go be somewhere or do something, or there's everybody is understanding that like this is that if we had to do a certain amount of Facebook posts or Instagram posts or something like that, unless it's like, they want us not promoting a product that way or whatever, they just want us using it and telling about it. And, that's kind of way more how it should be, I think, than you have to do this post and you have to do this many posts and they have to say this. And I don't think really too many brands are doing that anymore. So we don't have a lot of commitments that way.
Okay.
Traveling to things and going to events and stuff like that, we don't have very many of those that we have to go to. And I don't think we have any. And they're not burdens that we do. Like they're opportunities to go.
Yeah.
Like, gotta go ride this place and hang out with these guys. So.
Okay. All right. That's interesting though, but it's obviously come quite a long way since those early days in regards to the sponsors that have come on board. You know, you guys have got some big names attached to Jackson's brand, I guess, right? But it's cool though that it seems like it's super organic and it's, you know, you're working with the right people.
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, that's one question we get all the time on Instagram is how do you get sponsored?
It's the worst, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
You know? Yeah. Well, I get it. Like, and I don't have an answer for that. I'm not the guy to talk to about it, but, you know, what I think maybe is that once you're sponsored by one person, it seems to be easier to get more brands on board if you're, you know, then it seems to be, and I'm not, you know, an expert, but it seems to me that if you're, you know, if you have a local bike shop, then they can, you know, leverage that with some other brand or that will be involved in that. And then it seems to be easier to get more sponsors to get together, and it kind of exponentially builds. So I'm sure it's hard to, you know, that first sponsor is quite hard to get, but
obviously, you know, I run a distribution company here, and I must get probably not as many as you'd expect, but maybe let's say 5 messages like that every week. How do I get? Can you sponsor me? How do I get sponsored? And I've literally got it set up now in my notes where it's almost like copy paste, because it's like let the riding do its talking. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. We'll find you. Don't hustle too hard for it, because it's not organic at all. But I think there's this easy way of getting in touch with people, obviously through social media. Now, that's something that I really wanted to talk to you about, because it's super interesting. You know, like I said to you before, when I saw, you know, Jackson Goldstone started following you, I was like, that's really sick. Like, you know, and I straight away hit you up. I'm like, you know, it'd be cool to get you on here. Don't quite know how it'd work, but, you know, it'd be cool if we get you on here. But, you know, obviously, Ron, you reached straight back, you know, and said it was you that pretty much handled the whole social media thing. You know, when did that start popping off, that the social media started to grow? And how much emphasis do you guys put on that? Because I think this is super interesting. You know, it's obviously a bit of a burden on society, I think, in some ways, right? In some ways it is. Yeah. It's really, you know, I'm very much on the fence with social media. I love it some days and I absolutely despise it other days. You know, I try not to put too much emphasis on that stuff myself, but I think the big picture is, you know, kids are reaching out. They are on social media a lot, probably way too much. So how do you guys balance this stuff, and how do you keep it somewhat grounded? Because again, there's a lot of people watching this stuff. Sorry, I've sort of like gone around the houses there to ask you one question. There's a lot of levels to this, I think.
I don't have one answer. So that is actually one reason why we've started listening to podcasts more when we're traveling.
Okay.
And, you know, how we got turned into yours and a bunch of other ones is that it was like, it's something that we can, like when we're driving in the car to an event or Whistler or something, we can just throw on a podcast instead of him being on his phone playing a game and Bailey being on her phone, you know. So it's podcasts have been sort of how I've been kind of sneaky getting away from too much social media time. That was something we've been doing recently. But to answer one of your questions, I think the social media started back when I had my Facebook account, and I had my personal Facebook account had something like 10,000 followers, and nobody was following me because they wanted to know what I was eating for breakfast, right? So it was like, okay, this is pretty clear that Jack needs to have his own program, and we can just start, you know, and other people who are in the industry were kind of helping me and telling me what I should be doing. And, and that's kind of where I started that Facebook and Instagram account. And it's just, you know, been growing since then. And some days it's a bit of a burden trying to think of something that is interesting to people, but, you know, trying to keep the content worthwhile so people come and we'll stay engaged, but not being like making sure that it's genuine, right?
Yeah.
And that's what this is what we're doing. And I know a lot of people kind of give us grief because it's, Jack's 15 and should be running the social media account and all the rest of it. But I'm like, no, like that's another thing he would have to do that putting him on his phone. And as a parent, I'm trying to get him off his phone. So why would I, add that extra burden to him? So he does some of the media himself, and he's been taking over a few posts more and more. But it's something that we're managing for now, and it's it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I bet it is, man. I bet. And I was super surprised when you came back to me so quickly, and so you must be keeping a really good handle on it, because no doubt you get thousands upon thousands of messages. Like, it must be pretty crazy. But like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's an interesting topic, the whole social media thing, especially when Jack's so young, and it's interesting that you're managing it. You're not really from a marketing background at all, but yet you've built up this really engaged, nearly 100,000 people. I mean, that's a lot of people, man. It's a hell of a lot of people. It can be a bit of an ego trip maybe as well, which obviously you want to be trying to avoid as much as possible.
Yeah.
Don't know. Jackson, is it like that at school? Are kids like on social media? Is there like a bit of a thing going on within your age group about how many followers you've got? And
I mean, like at the end of the school year last year, there's like kind of like not awards, but like it's like the best hair, the best eyes, whatever, and it's like the most likely to be famous one, and then I got picked for that one because I think because my social media following's higher, like pretty big, and I try not to focus on it too much, like of doing my own account, which I'm glad my dad helps me with that stuff, but I do get a lot of grief from like friends and other kids out of school. Why didn't you run your Instagram account yet? But I don't really worry about it too much.
That's cool. Good. I think that's the best way, to be honest with you. I really do. There's so many kids, obviously, that are so attached to the phones and that are almost wearing that following as a badge of honor and some sort of award, like you're saying, like, I've got X amount of followers. But when you really boil it down, it doesn't really mean that much, does it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? For most people, I mean, obviously for you guys, it's huge for the career, but for most people, you're just sort of trying to chase this number for really nothing. It's some sort of validation that you're worthwhile. You know what I mean? It's kind of deep, but it's a strange one, man. So it must be weird though, watching it grow, Ron, like relatively quickly, and get to where it's at.
Yeah, honestly, it is, and it's just a number. Yeah, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, we got, but you kind of set like little goals, and it's just kind of that internal competition. Maybe, I don't know. Okay. Like, it's not like I don't go to other people and say, "Hey, I'm Ron Goldstone, and I've got 85,000." It's like, but I'm like, let's see if let's see if I can get 1,000 likes on this picture, and it's like, and it's not like, it's just like see what happens.
See what happens. Yeah. Have you looked at the demographic? Like, what's the following? Like, what's the split? Do you know?
There is like a
lot of 14 and 15-year-old girls, right?
Yeah. The interesting thing, I haven't looked at it for like a month, but Santiago, Chile.
Oh, right.
Is like that's where most of his followers come from.
Wow.
Which I found pretty interesting. And having been to Chile, like in February, those people love mountain biking. Like, I could not believe the fans down there. Wow. They're insane.
Yeah.
It was a great experience. So it makes sense that we have a lot of people who follow him from Chile. But I found it a little bit surprising. And I think, most of the people who follow him are kind of like, that 15 to 25-year-old male, I think. But I'd like to just for statistics, like I'd like to maybe one day go back and see like how the growth happened and when growth happened and what were we doing, and just it would be interesting to see like where a lot of people found out about what we were doing and why.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. The whole, like I said, the whole thing of having that many eyes on you, and I think Jackson appeals to so many different sort of demographics. Whether you're a keen mountain biker, you're going to want to know what he's up to. Whether you're not, because it's just cool to see, a pretty young kid doing crazy stuff, like you're going to want to follow you. So you appeal to such a broad audience where it's not like just, for example, I don't know, let's say, so I don't know, what am I trying to say? Maybe like just a downhill mountain biker. You'd be like, yeah, if I'm not into downhill, so I don't really need to look. Whereas, I don't know, you guys are doing unique stuff, a lot of different riding styles, a lot of different locations, a lot of different, I don't know, it just feels like it's just interesting what's going on. And you seem to...
thanks.
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be my take on it, why it's so broad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and imagine if we wanted to get more followers, we could start putting a cat in the photo or Hot Wheels or
Yeah,
maybe
some crash videos.
Yeah,
that seems to be the one right now, isn't it? Crash videos.
Crash videos.
Yeah. If you really want to get the numbers, it's crash videos, but yeah, maybe stay away from those.
Yeah, well, that's been lucky. Yeah, knock on wood. And I think people are interested in his bike setup and gear and stuff. A lot of times when we were, we spent a lot of years that were pretty good mountain, like off the shelf mountain bikes for kids. So I spent a lot of time kind of making do with, old parts and what, converted BMX stuff. And so, even when he had that custom Trek, that kind of, a lot of people were interested in that. And I got a lot of messages from dads who were like, well, what do you think about this and that? And, how did you do that and stuff? With all the bike companies now coming up with good 20-inch bikes and 24-inch bikes, it's not the same. But, there was a lot of time where people would reach out to me to figure out about bike gear and stuff. So a lot of people, when we post bike stuff, it kind of gets... a lot of people are interested in that.
I think, especially with access to social media, people seem to want to go a little bit further and deeper into people's careers and setups and stuff. Like you just said, a good friend of mine, Joe Bowman, runs the Santa Cruz Syndicate social media, and he's done all the This Is Petey videos and stuff like that. And one thing they've really focused on is more just like behind the scenes, all access content, because that's what people want to see. Like they want to know, like, what you get, I don't know, what you have for breakfast, all that sort of stuff. It's that sort of stuff, isn't it? And again, bike setups, and rather than just the highlight reel almost, rather than just that,
Yeah, I think so. Those are, This Is Petey's great, and all the syndicate stuff's been great. So yeah, we watch that.
Yeah.
Kind of like, oh, that'd be cool. But our lives aren't quite nearly as exciting as what those guys are doing.
I don't know. I think it's pretty close, dude. So do you manage all the travel as well, then, Ron? Do you do all that?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, we manage all the travel and everything. Like I do everything from travel to social media to mechanic to coach to dad. Yeah. So yeah, no, we're kind of like, this is our team, us two and Miriam and Bailey. So right now we're just kind of looking at what we're going to do for travel next year. This year was kind of insane for travel, and it was just kind of because we kept having opportunities were popping up, and it's hard to say no. So
yeah,
next year is going to be interesting because we want to make sure that Bailey's got a fair chance. She's going to race World Cup next year. She did a couple this year in her first year junior, and she's got like second year junior.
Oh, downhill World Cup.
Downhill World Cup,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now that Valley Hall's out of that class, it's going to be a little bit more open. And so she raced in Leogang, Leger, and World Champs, and kind of learned that she's a contender for that class. Now that Valley and Millie and Anna are out of it. So we're going to try and get her as much as we can to as many World Cups as we can. And that's going to help Jackson as well. I think him to just be exposed to some of those tracks and just being around that environment, so that the year after when he races junior, it's not the big shock, and it's a bit of a head start.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to hit a bunch of World Cups. He's going to Crankworks in March and Masters of Dirt in Vienna and then Portugal. So
all right,
it's a big travel year next year.
So would you say has like 2019 been one of the most sort of active years so far as like you said, opportunities coming up, and you've just had to be a bit more reactive rather than proactive?
What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, this year definitely did a lot more travel than last year.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's been I'm just kind of hanging out at home this winter, get some good Squamish riding. Yeah, it's cool that I have the opportunity to go to that many places.
Yeah. Oh man, 100%. It's crazy. It's really cool. I mean, like I was saying before, I mean, how many kids die for that opportunity to go travel the world at such a young age and see so much cool stuff? That's something that I think you've got a little bit of word of advice here from Uncle Davey. Keep mindful about that, man, because you're really, really lucky to have those opportunities and an amazing family around you as well. I mean, yeah, you guys seem legit, all of you. It's really, really cool. So one thing that you guys must get asked all the time, and you've just mentioned, the World Cup scene. Are you like aware of where you want all this to go? Obviously, you're doing a lot of dirt, slope style stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where's your head at? Where's you guys' head at? Where do you want this to go?
I don't have 100% set plan yet.
Cool.
But I mean, I'm gonna try and float between the two as much as I can. Hit some dirt jump events, hit some downhill events, and just try and do it all. I mean, it's impossible to do everything. Like you can't be winning World Cups and Crankwork slopestyle at the same time. But yeah,
be pretty sick if you did, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Challenge accepted, maybe. I don't know.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. I need a few years before that one, though.
Funny. Okay, that's interesting, though. But yeah, I don't know. You see your results and stuff. I mean, yeah, it looks like you can try your hand at pretty much anything. So, what about you, Ron? Like, where would you like to see it go as far as Jackson's career as the manager? Like, where do you?
Yeah, as the manager. Yeah, I think that my understanding is I understand World Cup racing better than I understand a slopestyle career, and especially in Canada, there's only 2 or 3 events that you can go and you can do that. So, I kind of lean towards World Cup path because I think that's got to define, like, that makes sense to me. You can go to local races, you can go to national races, you can go to international races, and he's really good at it.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, he's got a legit shot of being a contender when he gets to World Cup. And so, that's where I think he should go. I think kind of we've discussed it, and it'd be like, okay, let's at least try the first 2 years of junior, see how it goes, and then reestablish, whatever happens after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think if you look at guys like Cade Edwards, like there's a guy who, he's darn fast on a bike, but he's darn fast on a bike is because he's got bike skill and he's got ability, and he just likes riding bikes, and so he can do this other stuff too. And I think that's Brendan as well, right?
For sure.
Just good bike riders, and that they happen to be racers right now. And I think that's kind of where, if you had to put him in a cubby hole, he's like in the cubby hole of a free racer.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But I think maybe a little bit more, like, just keeping doing what he's doing and getting these experiences, and the rest of that, whatever he does will come.
Yeah. And it's been cool as well, especially over the last few years, to see people take a really different approach to the industry. I mean, you look at like what the guys from 50 to 1 are doing, that whole like just making edits and doing cool stuff and making a pretty healthy living out of it as well. And like you just said, Chaos, those guys as well that are just, like you say, not free racers, but they've just got that natural bike talent that, you know, they can throw backflips and all that sort of cool stuff. So there's that window of the industry that's opened up as well. I think mainly because of the 50 to 1 guys. I think they've sort of taken the whole free racer thing and really like run with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's cool to see that. Yeah, everything's not just based around those 8 World Cup races. And that you can do things like hardline and the urban racing and the, you know, different events that are just kind of cool and get you out riding your bike in front of people. And
for sure,
I think that's good.
And no doubt, you know, the social media stuff's opened up that whole world as well, because you've got a good following. You can do, you know, you can just make mini edits and all that stuff. So there's a lot more opportunity now, I feel like, especially for a kid like Jackson that's got natural talent and a following as well, you know.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah. Has there been any like negative effects of this whole thing that's been happening, but of, you know, Jackson's career and family dynamics or anything like that? Has it ever got a bit, I don't know, a bit much for everyone? Or
I don't think so. In the grand scheme, I think if you ask like my parents, you know, they're a big part of it too, right? Like we have not been around for Christmas, you know, in 6 or 7 years, right? And that means a lot more to my parents than it does to me. You know, so that kind of part of it, I think, would be the downside, is that our family time with our extended family is not the same as maybe some other families, and it's taken sort of that extended family to be aware of that we're sorry, you know, we're not there. Like this year in 2019, our 4 family, like Miriam, Jackson, Bailey, and myself, we didn't have a birthday together with all 4 of us.
Wow. Okay.
And we didn't have a birthday. Nobody had their birthday in Canada, right?
Yeah. So, actually, no. Yeah.
No, we were all away. So,
really,
like that part of it, which, you know, if there is a downside to the life we're living, then that would kind of be it. It's just that kind of family time gets sacrificed for our close family time. But no, I don't feel like we're, you know, missing. You know, we definitely are appreciative of the opportunities that we get given. And you know, so that's, I think we all kind of realize that this could go away at any time, and, you know, we got to appreciate what we got.
It feels like you're really embracing it and sort of running with it and spending tons of time with your family. I mean, with your kids, you know, I think it's one thing I've spoken about on this before. You know, some of the best times of my life were going to the races with my dad and just spending time and just having those experiences together that a lot of kids don't get that opportunity. There's a lot of kids whose families aren't supportive at all. You know, they want a bike, but they don't buy them one, and they just have no interest. And I think, you know, you're obviously the absolute opposite of that, where you're super involved and you're really supportive. And I think a lot of people, and I'm, you know, myself, whenever I thought about having kids, I'd want what you guys have got, you know, to have a little lad that's like into what I'm into, and you know what I mean? You get to travel together and stuff. So I think it's a really amazing thing you guys have got, and it's crazy to obviously be on the sidelines watching it all unfold as well. It's super cool.
Oh, thanks. Thanks.
It must be a bit of a trip sometimes.
It is pretty wild. It was really neat this year because Jack and I have been going to Serifos in Austria for the last couple of years for that Rookies Champ. And this year we all went in June. They brought us over to do a family video, and it's been awesome being there, but to be there with Miriam and Bailey and Jackson and show them, you know, how we got, you know, this is what we've been talking about, and this is, you know, and just, it was so much better doing that trip, or any trip, with all of us. It's been pretty rad that way.
Has there been any sort of point within Jackson's career where you've had to step in and say no to stuff? Because obviously his riding's elevated pretty quickly. We talked when we first started recording about that double back at Audi 9s, which is insane. You know, he's doing some pretty gnarly stuff. So what's you guys' relationship like with that? I mean, how do you do it? I mean, does Jackson say, I've got an idea for this? And then Ron, you're like, nah, you ain't doing that, dude. or is it just, you know, I think actually you said in an interview that you don't want him to get hurt, obviously, but you don't ever want to hold him back. I think that's a really, really nice thing and, you know, really nice quote. But I don't know, is there any time where you're like, no, or is it just free reign? Just do what you want. Just don't be dumb.
No, no, it's changing now. I think I alluded to it earlier when I was like, you know, if you just like, he didn't just go up and do a double back, right?
Yeah.
And he, you know, although it was that particular case, it was kind of out of the blue a little bit because he hadn't done one for 4 months.
Okay.
So it's a result of doing, you know, a bunch of like hundreds of backflips, right? And then, so it's that progression that you know, I see on a daily basis of, oh, he did that. Well, he did that plus that, then he did that plus that plus that. And so when the video comes out and he does a double backflip, it's like, well, it's because he did all the stuff leading up to it that I see. And so I don't, the double backflip is the one that scared me since day one.
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. When I first got in, my first Crankworks was the one that LeConagay won with the double backflip, and Greg Watts broke his back doing a double backflip, and it seemed like everybody got hurt on the double backs, and I was like, man, I'm fine if he never does that. And then and of course, you know, when we were at Masters of Dirt, he had the opportunity to try some into the airbag, and you know, I think he missed the first one, and then every other one he did was absolutely perfect. And then we didn't do any. He didn't do any practice for quite a while, and then all of a sudden, when we were at Audi 9s, he was doing them the airbag, and he's like, I got it. Like, let's go for it.
All right.
All right. And that one, I was like, I stood back. I just kind of like let the other guys talk him through what he's got to do and let him do his own thing. And I just kind of stood back and made sure all my insurance was up, and we had to,
And took a video.
And filmed it.
Yeah. I mean, I took it on my phone, but I knew that there was enough cameras there though. And just kind of let him do his thing. And, it was perfect, right?
Yeah.
It was good.
First go.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
So generally, you know, we had an argument when he was like 11. No, it must have been 9. About I thought he should be learning bar spins, and he thought he should be learning tail whips.
Okay.
I'm like, well, no, you know, and it was like, I'm like, no, bar spins is what you should. He's like, I hate bar spins. I want to learn a tail whip. And we had quite an argument over that, and it was like, okay, well, if he wants to learn tail whips, go for it. And you know, I'll see you in 2 years when I learn how to do tail whips. And like, he got it pretty quickly. So I kind of learned that I should just shut up and let him do what he wants to do and trust him.
Yeah.
I learned to tail it before I learned to bar spin. So
Really?
I don't know what was going on in my head back then, but
cool. All right, so you pretty much learnt now just to let it unfold how it unfolds, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Who are you watching these days, Jackson? Who are you looking up to?
I mean, I don't really just look up to like one person. I mean, like there's so many insane riders out there, you know, from both spectrums, from the downhilling and from the like slopestyle scene. So I kind of have a few, you know, that I look at. You know, Cade, he's got the mix and he's just so stylish and so fun to watch. And then, you know, there's Summonek, he's insane on a downhill bike and he's insane on a slopestyle bike. So like I kind of like those guys that have both going on for them, you know, and yeah, it just stands out to me.
Okay.
A lot.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Ron? Do you sort of like
I don't know if
anyone?
anyone's asking that question.
I mean,
They just ask you instead.
yeah, and like for me, it's Danny McCaskill. I think is the guy who's the most interesting to watch on a bike. Yeah, I think he's just so cool. How he's such a great guy, and he's just such a part of his bike, and just so interesting. And I like Danny McCaskill a lot. I think Reeder's cool. Emil's cool. Like there's just so many amazing riders right now.
Yeah.
Just watching the way the World Cup unfolded this year with
such a good season,
Yeah, it was so good. And just the level of those guys, how fast they're going. Like, oh man, it's great.
Yeah.
It's a good time to be a fan of biking.
Yeah, I think it is as well. I feel like it's a good time to be within the industry as well. From your perspective as a sort of manager / professional athlete as well, is it in a good space for you guys as well? Sort of, sponsorships coming on, all that sort of stuff. Do you feel like everything's going pretty well?
I mean, yeah, I couldn't really ask.
Seems to be, right? It seems to be. Yeah. Okay. I think things are a little skewed over here with the whole Brexit. I hate that term. I don't even not into politics at all, but things are pretty difficult here right now. I think people are holding on to the money a little bit longer. Brands aren't wanting to get as heavily involved, I think, with athletes because they're trying to penny pinch maybe a little bit and sort out, costing, all that sort of stuff. But I was just curious, what it's like for you guys being an athlete as well. Like, there's no issues with that.
Well, the lucky thing is that I think we have such low expectations that they're easy to meet. So I'm happy, with a set of tires that come in, and we're pretty stoked to get a set of tires or a hub, or it doesn't really matter. I think I think I'm really happy with all the brands he's working with, and I think that for us, brands that bring mentoring opportunities are really good. Like for that's sort of been an awesome part of being sponsored by some of these guys is that we get to hang out with some of the pro riders, and he gets to learn from them as well. So but it's interesting to say about Brexit and just the state of the economy over there. Like,
it's different for sure.
Sense.
I spend most of my days in and out of bike shops, so I physically see it. Do you know what I mean? That I was having the same conversation with somebody today, just owns a bike shop, and was saying people aren't walking in the door. They're just not coming in and buying bikes because they're either making do with the old one until we figure out what's going on, or they're just worried about losing a job. Maybe mate, honestly, like I try not to think about it too much because it just gets you down. I just try and crack on with my own stuff and whatever, but. I don't know. It's just. I think it's going to be potentially pretty hard for athletes over here as well, especially with travel within Europe. That could it could throw a spanner in the works for some people. I mean, the thing is, nobody knows. That's the thing. Like nobody has any idea. There's no plan. There's nothing over here. So we're just sort of waiting for something to happen. But I think that it just leaves that uncertainty in the economy, doesn't it? That no one's prepared to really buy stuff, and I don't know, not book holidays, that sort of stuff. I don't know. We've got this little bubble I keep alluding to is between here and Vancouver and Whistler that I don't really think about that too much. But you're right, that is an impact that I think I should be aware of and a bit more recognize. I don't know, maybe, or just ignore it and just carry on like normal, like I'm trying to.
Maybe that too.
I think it's sometimes best just to be naive, right, and just do your own thing and not worry about stuff like that too much. Okay, I don't know. Obviously, parenting 101, dude. I mean, no doubt people have already reached out and asked this sort of question, but have you got any advice for dads out there that are trying to get the kids into the sport and sort of nurture the talent a little bit? Like, I don't know, because you're probably like one of the best guys in the world to speak to about this stuff. I don't know. No, man, you seem to have done an amazing job. Like,
Well,
you should have seen the face that my dad just made.
I saw it. Don't worry.
Yeah. I would never thought anybody would be looking at me for parenting advice. But as far as like, I think that maybe because whatever success Jack has had is because he's had it's always about keeping it fun and making sure that you got to kind of check your ego a little bit and like, okay, listen to the kid to make sure that what they want to do is really what they want to do. I see a lot of in BMX, but a little bit in mountain biking, where kids are put into a situation and, at 6 to 14, all the kid wants to do is make you happy, right? And they're going to do whatever their parents tell you because they want to be happy. And so, you got to be able to say, well, am I doing this because it's making him happy or it's making me happy? And if you're sending a kid down a Whistler mountain bike park and he's crashing all the time and you get that great video of him doing the jump once, but he did it 15 times and crashed, it's like, maybe you might want to tone things down a little bit, And I think if someone was to ask me what I would do to make sure that, what I'm doing differently is that I generally believe that we're doing this because it's fun for everybody. And, I'm in here for the long term. So if he's not having fun, then maybe we just go to something else until it is.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's that age-old stereotype of the stereotypical pushy dad that didn't make it himself, that's trying to live the dream through his kid. And one thing that's really apparent is you guys aren't like that at all. It's all sort of happened really organically. You're just taking it for what it is and just living this life and living the dream of it, really. But there is that age-old stereotype of having the dad being really pushy and maybe making them do stuff they don't want to do just because they want to see him succeed in it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that I don't want to be the guy who wrecked mountain biking for Jack.
Yeah.
Because I pushed him too hard.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't want to, I just don't want to be that guy. And I saw it too much in BMX and I learned it too early on. That, you just see it just gets reinforced over and over and over again. Like that kid's not racing anymore. That kid's not jumping anymore because, they either got burnt out or not supported or, now they're playing video games and working at McDonald's. It's like,
Yeah.
So that's something I said, Give, is that make sure that you're keeping it fun for the kids and you're doing it for the right reasons.
Okay. We had a listener question come in, which is very similar, from @Ricardo Smooth, and he said, "How do you keep it fun while still pushing your son to try things most people won't entertain? Is there anything you won't let him try?" I know we've sort of gone over some of that stuff, but I thought I'd throw it in there.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess, Jack, I don't think there's anything I wouldn't let you try on a bike. But it would be
definitely on a bike. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. There are things you don't get to try. No, there's nothing I'm not going to let him try, but it's the progression to get to that you have to go through in order to do it. And Jack knows that you don't just go out and try something the first time because you just end up either not going well or getting a good crash video. But I think
a lot of views on Instagram though, crash video.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think the first part of that question was about how do you keep it fun and pushing them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think those kind of work in opposites, right? Like I don't think I push them. Like if I do push them, it wouldn't be fun. So I think the keeping the fun is the more than 90% of the equation there. I don't think we push. I think we give opportunity to stand behind them that way. Yeah. I think my goal or my job is to give them opportunities and be able to make sure that they have the opportunities. And if they run with it, then that's successful. If they don't run with it, then we'll try a different opportunity.
Okay, interesting.
Maybe
That's cool, man. It's cool. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure sitting chatting to you. There's a load of stuff I wanted to know. I was just curious about as well, and you guys are rad. You know, literally anytime you want to come on here and just sit and chat, like, you know, part of the family, just ask, just come on here and sit and talk about stuff. What have you got coming up? Is there anything you want to like promote? Have you got like any events coming up that people can catch you guys at?
I think the rest of this summer is gonna be, or not summer, winter is gonna be pretty low.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be at Rampage again, so.
Oh yeah. Is that on the radar at some point? Like that seems to be a good event.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah. I mean, I've been going for 6 years, maybe.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
6 years, so I've been to a lot.
Yeah.
And I've kind of seen every angle of it, you know, how it's progressing and all that. So it's interesting to see where it's go and where I would fit into, like, you know, riding in there. But I don't know. It'd be pretty sick, but it's also really scary.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
The desert Southwest down there, like at that area around Zion Park and all the rest of it. So it's kind of a good excuse to go for a bit of a holiday.
Okay, cool.
And Rampage as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, that's our next big one. We're kind of he's got to go to school and I got to go pay some bills. And so we're gonna lay low for the next couple of months, but cool. In the spring, yeah, for sure, it's gonna be an interesting 2020.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds stacked. So if you make it over to the UK, like, I'd love to take you guys out for some food or something and meet you properly. That'd be cool. Like, we've got a cool little studio set up as well in Sheffield. If you want to come and hang out, you're always more than welcome. But again, I just want to say a huge thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it, and it's been really interesting as well, learning about how it all works. Because from the outside looking in, you don't get the full picture, but it's been interesting to sort of learn more about you guys for sure. And I think people listening are going to enjoy it too. Hopefully, if they're still here. Hopefully. Who knows?
Yeah. It seemed to go by a lot quicker than I thought. So.
Oh man, these things blow past. It's crazy. So again, huge thank you for doing this. Really appreciate it. If people don't already, where can they follow you, learn more, all that stuff?
Just Jackson Goldstone on Instagram or Facebook is the same. And then I don't know what the Pink Bike account is, but I don't know, if you just type in Jackson Goldstone, you can find some stuff from there. But
cool.
Yeah, I don't have a YouTube channel, at least not yet. I don't know.
Not a vlogger.
No, I'm not a vlogger.
Not a vlogger yet. Okay. So. Maybe when you have a little bit more time on your hands, you can make that happen. Yeah. Who knows?
Well,
yeah. So many more things. It's just time, isn't it, as well? And you know how much you put into it. But no, thank you again. Have an awesome rest of your day, and appreciate your time. Really, really, really good of you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. It's been fun.
All right, just hang there. I'm just going to stop the recording. Hang on. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 85 is in the bag. Once again, huge thank you to everyone out there for listening to the episode. If you have enjoyed listening, please drop it a share on your social media, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, MySpace, Grindr, whatever it is you guys use, just drop a quick share. It really, really helps the show grow. And if you want to win yourself a pair of Sax underwear, head to iTunes and leave a review. Type something out, make it as funny as you can. It always makes it a little bit more exciting when they're funny. And Mudcast on hookitproducts.co.uk gets you 15% off all mudguards throughout October. And if you can, please make a donation to the RNLI marathon effort, which goes down this coming Sunday. If you're listening after the 6th of October, we're going to leave the page up for a couple of weeks to grab those last minute pounds and dollars. So just check the show description, hit the link, and you will still be able to hopefully make a donation. All right, that's a wrap. Have a great rest of your week. Take care. Peace out.